Hello, everyone, and welcome to our circle, Anne Salve. Today, I'm going to be talking about my article on love, faith, and partnership. And this, to me, is allowing myself to be vulnerable once again. I cannot emphasize enough that in these articles, I really want it to be taken in as by me being open and being real as much as I can be, that you really understand there's light into every circumstance, that even in moments where you think that it is pure darkness, there's something to learn from it, because truly it only takes one small piece of light to then rid of any darkness. And so any given time that you look at something and think, my goodness, I don't know where there's any light to this, there is. And so being together with my husband for 30 years now and going, and with 5 children, and we definitely have had our ups and downs, being competitive by nature, each and every one of us, and then having that fusion of two energies that really are driven. You can only imagine what we've created for our kids. And so for us, it has really truly meant to make things work and to have trust with one another. And of course, each and every one of us have been tested, continue to be tested, because each and every one of us have had the makeup of our gene pool, and knowing what kind of characteristics we each have. There's a lot of work into that. It's different when you are just going by yourself and you're like, you know what, I think I've ran already enough and I need to take a break. When you're running with others, definitely with your spouse or with your partner, it is not so easy to just decide when to pause, when to stop, when to turn back, when to take a left, when to take a right, take that route, take this path, because you have to come together as one. And there goes this conflict that then is created, because all of a sudden you are you have to be a united force. And whenever there's this division, then there's conflict, then there's this all of a sudden this impactful negative vibe that can then deter you from moving forward, or from just even making any such decision to make things work. It's like everything all of a sudden comes into a pause, and you have to wonder to yourself, like, okay, hold on, is this the right thing to do? Is pause right now? And many times my husband is the person that really has been that one to make decisions in this house as to how to forego. And Steve Harvey had mentioned about how women have a biological clock, but men have a financial clock. And with him, both of us coming from hardships in our background, and with him as a father and having lacked perhaps a lot of paternal guidance into that, he has always been driven more by listening to his grandfathers and what they had made of themselves. And so for him, it was more of like, okay, what can I do to then take that back and then move forward, so that my children can then advance, and then my children's children, and then my children's children's children could advance to a point where I would not be that generation to not only just hold our next generation to follow, to move forward, but then all of a sudden be stagnant, or that you're taking them 10 steps back. And marrying into this relationship, I believed in my husband from the very beginning. I mean, that's just how I am as a person too. And that goes really into that characteristic of a partnership, is that you truly have to believe in your partner. And there are times where you're going to question, because you're thinking to yourself, are we going too fast? Are we going too slow? Are we going in the right direction? Did we take the right exit? How is this and how is this working for everyone in the family? And sometimes you can't fulfill every one of those to the T, where everything is content, everyone's joyful, everyone's feeling light, and that they're not feeling heavy. In biggest challenges, the more challenges you have, the heavier it's going to feel. The more tired you may be, the more spent you may really feel. And then all of a sudden you're thinking to yourself, can we just take a nap? And then, your partner's saying, nope, in fact, we got to move faster. We got to move, forward. We got to keep going. And you just have to believe. And, then there goes that part where it's like, wait, I do believe. And yet I need to, I'm questioning of whether or not we are going in the right direction. And there's that conflict. There's that disruption of energy. And so in light of all of that, you really have to then reflect on your own thoughts and say to yourself, is this a moment where I question if I go ahead and take it to a level where this may end up being a major conflict? It may end up being a major pause in this togetherness, in this pursuit to go move forward. Or do I just zip my lip and then just continue to have faith that where we're going is the right direction? And there goes that moment where you only really truly have yourself to control. You really only have yourself to decide how you would want to handle the situation, because in the long run, you have to ask yourself, how would you be the person to then blame if things did not come to fruition, if things did not happen in the way that they were supposed to? Would you be that block? Would you be all of a sudden that obstacle that people maybe in many generations to follow, that someone will speak of it and say, because of my great grandmother, or because of my grandmother, or because of my mother, we never got to where we needed to go. And I look back, and even though for myself, I've found peace in not blaming anyone of where I ended up struggling. There are times where you just had to have forgiveness, but moving forward, have to ask myself, what can I do to control that? What can I do to make certain that in the pursuit of betterment for our next generations to follow, to have a legacy where there's portraits of you on the wall and there's a bio of you, and speaking of your strengths? Neither one of my husband and I have such types of historical background where we can look back and learn from others. And hence, this is one of the reasons why I do these videos, is because it's so important to look at someone's vulnerability and yet see the strength in the pursuit of continuation, in the pursuit of betterment, in the pursuit of continuing for prosperity and progress for the next generations to follow. Because if you aren't able to be vulnerable and speak of it now, then how is that going to make progress for those that could perhaps learn from your words, learn from your actions, learn from your experiences, and make you understand that, hey, I can really be in a moment where I'm just not feeling like moving right now. I'm not feeling like this is feeling good right now, that I want to be argumentative, that I want to question. And yet, when did my great-grandmother or when did my grandmother take a pause and go, but I've got to trust, I've got to have faith, I've got to be, having the love and the partnership to endure and just see it for what it is right now, and envision what my partner envisions, and believe that we will get there. And that is truly my message today, is, for all of us, whether women and men who are struggling in a relationship where you're thinking to yourself, I just don't know where this is going. And I don't know if this is going anywhere. You only have yourself to blame. And I'm going to say this perhaps in not sounding too heavy, but really thinking to yourself, am I the light or am I the darkness? Perhaps that's a good way to really put it, because I always have to ask myself now, in growing and maturing, really truly asking myself, am I the guiding light, or am I the light that is being carried through to help through with even the darkest moments? That there can be those around me that say, you illuminate this situation and you make it go forward. You don't put any darkness or greater darkness to this already perhaps darkened moment. And then now we can progress. Now we can see tomorrow. Now we can see next week. Now we can see all that has truly come about and has evolved from this given moment, because we have continued out of your belief, out of your illuminated light, out of your good spirit. And so, take that moment and I really truly ask yourself, who has control of your emotions? Who has control of your thought process? Who has control of how you are really feeling in your moments of challenges, in your moments of feeling like it is all about your your feelings and your own selfish motives. Realize that as a team, as a unit, as a force, you able to move forward, then you all have to push in the right direction, that you all have to really just move in the direction of whatever is leading you, and to get there. Because my thought is, if we get there and there's some, like, oh my goodness, this is not how we intended it to be, at least we're there together and we're not separated, we're not divided. That we said, hey, look, we can try again for tomorrow, let's make it better tomorrow, but at least you are still as one. And there will be many, many people, just because you're surrounded by many things that will test your unit, that will test how you are together as one. And it could just be self-inflicted wounds to the heart, mind, and spirit, where you're thinking to yourself, and feeling that all of a sudden it's just not going. And it just could be just all these false thoughts in your head that is trying to take you down, or that others who have never ever come to fruition or have never arrived, they don't even know. So, and all of a sudden they're making you question whether inadvertently to do so, or directly or intentionally. You have to block that out. And you have to only focus on the partner that's next to you, because he's looking at you and he's like, I don't care how many daggers are being thrown. I don't care how many arrows are heading our way. I don't care how many floods we have to overcome and swim through. Will you be there with me in the end? And my answer is always yes. We're going to probably argue about which boat to go ahead and jump on, or where we are going to go, or which direction that we should take at this given moment. I'm just going to follow, and I'm just going to go ahead and pursue that you are leading us into that direction, because at the end, when we reach our destiny, we're going to be together. And I'm emphasizing that because there are many now who perhaps are arriving to that part where you were divided, and you have to look back. And if you're happy with it, there's nothing that can take that away from you. You should be very content with the decisions you've made, but you have to ask yourself, when you surround yourself with those around you, it's like, who really matters, right? At the end, who do you really want to be with, and who would you hope to be with, so that whether the time may be, oh my goodness, we can't wait to get to the next step, or we have arrived, are you going to be there with the people that you have truly cherished and that you have truly hoped for? And everything is a work in progress, right? I can't keep emphasizing enough. I have a painting in the back, and it's like halfway done, and the more you look at it, you think to yourself, there's so much more. Every little stroke that you put into a brush, that could be another one, there could be another one, and yet you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to be in a position where all of a sudden you feel like it's a hot mess and it's too late to go back and redo. So you have to take those moments so carefully. And that's all I hope that my husband sees in me, is that, I may not always do everything that he would like me to do, but that's what we're here together to do, is question each other so that we can pursue our togetherness stronger and better. And at the end, we can say that we believed in each other, or that truly we had this partnership where no matter what, we stood united. And, your storms are going to come, your moments are going to be tested, and yet you're going to say to yourself, it's all good. It's all good, because this is what has made us stronger and made us realize how much more we care for one another, and truly believe in our plans for our lives. So here's to partnership. I'm hiding my nails because they are definitely right now no polish. I just, again, been just having fun, just going about doing you and enjoying whatever it is that you like to do. And again, you can see that I just been having fun painting. No expert, just going about where your heart is telling you to go. And that's where I'm going to leave you with that today. In the words of my mother, God bless us all. and continue to love yourself, continue to love those around you, and know that sometimes, you're going to be tested, and yet your love has to be strong. It has to be pure. It has to be stored in the light, because there will be many things that's going to try to jump in there that may perhaps not be of light, and yet light is always going to be stronger, and it will always take over any darkness. Just remember that. Love, and fight the good fight, and continue on stronger and better. We will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening.